Okay, so I thought what we'll do tonight, I'll introduce you to the practice a little bit, because some people might be completely new. And so it is a Medicine Buddha retreat, so that means we are working with the Medicine Buddha. So it's not just meditation. Yeah, it's like yesterday evening I explained a little bit. I said you can practice Buddhism from both sides, from philosophical side, religious side. You can do both separately, or you can do both together, which of course then works the best. Yeah. Now for our own mind, who is sometimes quite cynical and doesn't really believe in the power of prayer, then sometimes we kind of stand in our own way for this to be able to work properly. So does everybody know what the Buddha is? Yeah? If it's no, then you can say, this is why I'm here. Okay, what is a Buddha? You know. Okay, what is a Buddha?
He was a prince, and he...
Yeah, no, not Shakyamuni Buddha. Buddha in general, the term Buddha. What is a Buddha? Huh? Okay, that's just another word, but can I have some little bit more substance? What does it mean, Buddha?
All obscurations and delusions.
Right, purified all obscurations and delusions, and has developed all qualities that one can develop. Kind of a perfect being, meaning having eliminated all negative emotions from the mind, never to arise again. So this is a Medicine Buddha retreat. So many people come because they're sick, or they come because they have other people that are sick and they want to do the practice for them. That is very good, but that is just short term. Yeah. So whatever practice one does as a Mahayana Buddhist is, so I will attain enlightenment as quickly as possible. So of course you choose your own motivation, that's fine, but I will mention that again and again and again and again, that the actual motivation why this sadhana or this practice was given to us is so that we can attain the same state. So it's not that, because very quickly one falls into the trap when one starts to do those practices, especially with the Medicine Buddha, who is the healing Buddha, that one sees, the high and mighty Buddha up there, and me, the poor being down here, who cannot, who just needs the help. Yeah. So we need the inspiration, we do need the help, but why? Because we want to attain the same state. Yeah. So that is the purpose. And then, of course, it's a Buddhist retreat. Yeah, so please don't be upset. I mean, if you find out as we go along that this is really not what you wanted to do, then just, don't do it. Nobody forces you to do this. And it's always a little bit difficult, because I do know that we have, the Western mind has great rejection and great resistance to those things. Sometimes, not everybody, but many people. And especially if we have to recite a lot, because we have to recite the whole thing, the same thing, 4 times a day. Yeah, so then one goes, what on earth is that? How is that going to help? I just feel much worse than I felt before I came here, and things like that. And one can get quite negative about the whole thing, actually. Try not to do that. Try to see that if you get negative, that's fine. Just relax. Don't buy into it. It's just the ego rebelling, because the ego doesn't know what it's doing, and we don't want to be the one who doesn't know what's going on. We want the one, we want to know. Then the ego goes, oh, she didn't explain well. These kind of practices you can explain for weeks, if you want to understand what this is all about, and you would still not understand. These kind of practices you have to do. Yeah. So maybe if you are not familiar with it, the best way is to... You know the Dalai Lama? Have you heard about Dalai Lama? Yeah? Okay, everybody just smiles. You see, this is the result of that practice, that people hearing your name, then people will smile and feel relaxed. So I approached it like this because I had great resistance to those things at the beginning, And even now sometimes I have doubts. So that's okay, but I'm not buying into them. I know it's just my deluded mind, who brings this up. But at the beginning, what helped me when I had to do all those repetitions and prayers and all this, I thought, well, the Dalai Lama is doing that as well, And he's not stupid, he's not superstitious. He doesn't come across as superstitious and, that he doesn't know how to do things properly, so then he takes refuge in prayers. He doesn't appear like that. So then I thought, well, what's good enough for him should kind of be good enough for me. And I started doing them without knowing what I was doing, because you can't really know what you are doing when you start with those practices. Yeah. So why this very high goal, which is of course very, very, very far away? So we're not stressing ourselves out that this has to happen in this retreat. We know it will last an incredibly long time. So then you relax. That also doesn't go with our mind who wants everything now. Yeah. So Asian people, when they do these kind of practices, they do it without any expectation whatsoever. Because they know by doing those practices, by reciting those prayers, by reciting the names, they create the karma, the positive imprint, that at one point definitely will ripen as happiness. So even if they're not so happy now, it doesn't matter. You see, when we do those things, we should be like the farmer who knows what kind of seeds to put in the earth. So the seeds, that's the karma, this is the kind of the cause for happiness. It's doing the practice without worrying so much what will happen, just doing it with some kind of trust. Yeah. For some people it might look like blind faith. So it's not completely blind faith, because you will see people around you who have done that before and who are very happy doing it. Yeah, so that means it definitely worked for them, because, you know, we have Nancy who kind of did it before she came back. I did it quite a number of times already, and maybe as we go along I'll tell you a few stories what sometimes can happen during a Medicine Buddha retreat. So just to have this kind of trust and to relax into, this is not difficult. We just make it difficult because all we have to do is to recite. You see, meditating, having the mind on the object, not letting the mind stray off, wander off, that's very difficult. Some of you who come to who meditate regularly, you know that. Realizing emptiness, seeing reality as it is, incredibly difficult. Reciting a sadhana, very easy. But we don't want to do it because we don't know what's going on. And we have expectations that we should feel inspired and full of bliss and full of love and full of this and full of that. Well, no. All we are doing, we're planting the seeds. So don't be like the farmer who wants to have the fruit while he puts the seeds in the earth. I mean, no clever farmer would even think like that. And then, he puts the seeds in the earth and then he covers them up and then he goes like, oh my, nothing is coming, therefore it didn't work. This is us. Yeah. When we don't feel, the results of a Buddhist practice of having love, compassion, wisdom, an open heart, peace of mind, if we don't feel that in the retreat, we think it didn't work. So that means then we become exactly like this farmer, puts the seeds and says, well, nothing is growing, therefore it doesn't work. The farmer goes home, relaxes. He knows the seeds are in the earth, he knows he doesn't have to worry. But we're not like this because we like instant result. Yeah? And very often with the mind, because we understand very quickly with the mind that anger is no good, attachment is no good, great to have love, inner peace, space, all that. We understand very, very quickly with the mind, but then we're still not able to do it. Why? Because we have habituated the mind of being angry, attached, confused, all kinds of things. So then, of course, just knowing it intellectually, that doesn't get us anywhere. Yeah. So this is why we use the energy of the Buddhas outside to speed up that process. To speed up to the process of becoming the person that you really want to be. Being liberated from mind states that you really want to be liberated. Of course, this is Medicine Buddha, so it also has to do with body. But it mainly has to do with mind, because when there's a body sickness, it's too late already. Yeah, body sickness come from deluded minds, actions of that have been done out of anger or attachment, of course, ignorance, other things in the past. This is why now we have a sick body. This is what Buddhism would say. So if we just kind of constantly heal the body with like the Medicine Buddhas, and it can help if we have the karma to be healed, it will definitely help. We constantly do that, but we don't change anything in our mind. Yeah. So again, if you take the farmer, then you like the farmer who knows that the weeds are no good, who are growing at the same time, but doesn't really remove them, you know, or maybe just cuts them. Right? So we have to see, you know, before every practice actually, be it like philosophical practice or being this more, a little bit more religious, not just a little bit, let's be honest here, but this religious practice, what we will do, you have to check, you know, why am I doing this? What do I want to attain? And then, you know, of course, the first thing is always having a healthy body, because that's what we're most disturbed by, because when there's body pain, we cannot distract ourselves. We can distract ourselves very well when there's mental pain, you know, with, you know, drugs, alcohol, movies, going for a walk, even nature. You know, you go out into nature, you feel much better. But it doesn't make the thing go away. It's the problem is actually still there. And even if you know, that's what we're most interested in, because a lot of time goes into keeping the body healthy and comfortable. Very little time goes into keeping the mind comfortable, because we make the mistake not even noticing that we can have a body who's very healthy and the mind can still be in a terrible state. Yeah. Again, on a very superficial level, we all know that the mind is more important, but we don't put any effort into having a healthy mind. Especially kind of in Buddhist centers, you know, when people come as beginners to Buddhist center, then we demand of everybody else who's been here for a while to be compassionate and loving and kind, so then I can be happy. Yeah, this is not about that. This is about developing, changing my own mind. What others do, this is their problem. Yeah, it's their problem. And definitely, I mean, there is some result, but after a while, but there's still, all the delusions are also still there. Yeah. So the main purpose for doing the practice is not just to have a healthy body. The main purpose is to have a healthy mind. Healthy mind meaning being free from confusion, anger, panic, fear, you know, exaggerated fear, things like that. So that we don't create more seeds for the weeds in our field there. So that the good seeds of love and compassion, wisdom, they can grow properly, they have space to grow. Yeah, so this is why we do. And we take the outer Buddha in order to wake up our inner Buddha potential. Because Buddhism would say all beings have pure minds. Yeah? Like our mind, every being's mind, even an ant, a mosquito, a dog, a cat, the nature of the mind is pure. It's just covered by the delusions. Yeah? And because it's covered by the delusions, we're not happy now, and we create all karmic imprints for unhappiness in the future. So that's why. Yeah, this is why. So a Buddha, an enlightened being or an awakened being, has eliminated all that, has shown the path, and there's different paths, there's not just one path. So one practices according to our own disposition, has shown the path, and now we do it. And if you can let go of your resistance, this weekend will be incredibly easy. It's much easier than a silent Vipassana retreat. I don't know if many of you have done silent Vipassana retreats. That is very difficult, you know. And you will probably, as we go along, then in the afternoon it will be hot and you have to recite this same old thing again, you know. It's not so thick, you know. Some sadhanas are that thick, in case you don't know. So it's okay, it's not that much recitation. And then, you know, you'll go, but I came here to meditate, why can't we meditate longer and this and that? If I would let you meditate 4 sessions a day without saying anything at all, after 10 minutes you would go, well, what is this? I don't know what to do. Yeah. The mind always wants something different anyway. Okay, so that was just an introduction a little bit. Take responsibility for your own happiness. You know, it's like, don't have a mind that wishes this to be different. It's not going to be different. Yeah. I'm in charge. I'm the dictator. It's not democracy. Because you see, democracy in meditation retreats is like it's creating big mess. Yeah. What we do in meditation retreats, we create or we learn what is called the 4 purities or simplicities. We become very simple. Yeah. Like, do you want to become simple? Actually, this is another thing. You know what meditation is all about and spiritual practice is all about? You become an ordinary person. You stop wanting to be special, and your problems are finished. It's just because we want to be always very special that we have problems, because then we have to compare ourselves with others. And there's always somebody who's more special than us, me, I. So the goal is to become an ordinary, content, peaceful person. So you choose if you want to become that. Yeah. So the four simplicities or the four purities. The first one is purity of body, meaning as we are here, we try to walk mindfully also, especially when we're outside, so we're not killing insects as we walk around. It will be a completely different mind, who as you walk, you look where you put your feet. You're concerned about somebody else's happiness. We're not mindlessly kind of storming around trying to find some pleasure for ourselves. Even as you go on the trails, you look where you put your feet. So you become a non-harming, you're not harming anybody with your body. Yeah. So then of course you don't steal, then you don't have sexual contact, so you're not, kind of forcing anybody to have sex with you. So that would be like the purity of body, not to do any negativities with our body. No killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct. Then with the speech, as much as possible, we try to refrain from speaking. Sometimes we have those, the whole retreat in silence. What do you think? In the breaks? You see, we lose a lot of energy with our speech, and we create a lot of negativities with our speech. Most of the time we're criticizing somebody or, complaining about something. Yeah, the mind is always complaining. Our mind always complains, too difficult, it's too hard, can't do that. We don't even notice how much we damage ourselves with our complaints. It's so harmful. And whom are we harming? Just ourselves. Yeah. So purity of speech, we'll keep the mornings silent. So the last session, maybe not tonight, but tomorrow night and the day after, the last session until lunch, between the sessions, silence. Maybe we'll try that. Yeah, is that okay? Because it's so liberating, you see. Because it's also with our speech that we try to be. That's one way of being special, with our speech. So as we are silent, you can just be. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to. This is not a competition here. We're just a group of people wanting happiness, wanting to be free of suffering. Same thing. Yeah, so that we don't have to kind of prove how special we are with our speech. It's very relaxing. Yeah. So purity or simplicity of speech, one is quiet. So even, when there's no official silence, you can still be quiet. And it will be very awkward as you sit with people at the same table and you're not talking. And then you will see how we just fill our time and space, and other people's space also, with useless chatter. So it will feel uncomfortable at the beginning, because we're not used to do that. Once you are used to do it, and maybe you go into a 10-day silent retreat, and then on the 11th day people start talking again, you'll hate it. We start to see the benefit of silence. It's so relaxing once we got used to it. Yeah, so, and if you keep silence, and there's, of course, we have guests here who are maybe not in silence, so then don't judge those if they talk. They're not on the retreat. That's fine. Silence means you are silent, not the others. That's okay. We don't have to demand everybody to be in silence in order for us not to talk. It's just sound, what we hear. So, and then the purity of environment, kind of one trains a mind that is content with what we have. Whenever the complaints come up, then you give the mind some reasons to be able to relax, saying, come on, it's 2 days. It's okay, the bed is not as I wanted it. So what? It could be no bed. It could be lying on the floor in the street or somewhere. So it's not. Or maybe the room is not as you wanted it. Don't change everything. It's just for 2 days. Like that. So contentment. Purity or simplicity of environment. We're not going around changing everything so that we can like it better. And then, of course, purity of mind is like one checks the content of the mind, one checks the thoughts. So as much as possible, one tries to have loving thoughts, beneficial thoughts for ourselves, for others, Yeah, you can go on the 8 verses trail. You can sit on the benches, meditate a bit on those 8 verses, instead of just, following the complaining mind who wants more of this and more of that, or less of this, less of that, or whatever. So those are the 4 purities that are usually practiced in a retreat. Just that creates a lot of positive energy. Yeah. So, the medicine Buddhas, let me introduce them to you. They're all sitting in front of you. They have different names and different colors. And unfortunately, in the Buddhist traditions, it's like some things are not exactly black and white the same. Yeah, so the sadhana that we have here, maybe we can open it and look. Actually, this is what is called the sadhana. It's the green book. Sadhana means it's a certain build up of a practice that is then always done in the same way. So, of course, we would like to have, we want variety. With variety, the mind cannot get used to something. This is why then it feels more pleasant at the beginning, but then it just becomes more difficult. So this, reciting the exact same words all the time, after a short while, is very painful for us because we get bored. If you stick to it and you keep doing it, all of a sudden you feel the words flowing. And then it's an amazing feeling. You feel the mind becoming clearer and clearer and clearer and flowing on the words. Yeah, this is why we recite sutras or sadhanas. This is why we have sadhanas. So we don't have to think, how can I make this more pleasant? We just recite whatever we have. We relax. We relax, we let go of the mind wanting something different. This is why I said this is not a democracy here. Yeah, we relax wanting to be in control. We relax that thing. I want to have it different. It's like this, and that's it. And the mind can get used to anything. And the moment the mind is familiar with something, it comes very easy. We all know that, We all know that. Maybe when you think of learning how to drive or learning how to type, it's very difficult at the beginning. There's no fun in it. Nothing flows. Yeah, you have to think. If you are, or sports or dancing. There's many examples like that, isn't it? So then, the moment you are familiar with what you're supposed to do, then you can let go and you relax, and then even typing. If you're good at typing, I'm not. For me, it's still a pain. So if you're good at typing, it becomes a pleasure, even if it's work. If you're good at driving, it becomes a pleasure. Yeah, and you don't really notice the moment from not being able to type and the thing starting to flow. So stop checking whether it now flows or it doesn't flow or whatever. Just do it. It's quite a nice mind. Let go of wanting to be in control and just reciting. And if you are, if your mind kind of starts to complain that this is too long, as I said, 2 years ago, we had a different sadhana. We had the sadhana that I explained at Rita Institute in India, but for that you need Medicine Buddha initiation, and many people don't. So this is why we do the more simple one to make it more open. Yeah, there's one sadhana which is much more complicated with lots of visualizations, quite elaborate, much more recitation. So if you are interested in doing that, that one retreat starts in Dharamsala in India on the 31st of August this year. So we'll do different ones. Also then, 3 days would be too short to do that for people to get used to it, so we do 10 days there. People have more time in India than here. Right, so I introduced those 7 medicine Buddhas to you. They are called the 7 medicine Buddhas because each 7 they have made specific vows or promises how they will help others. Now this is not recited in this sadhana, but each one has a plaque. So at one point, if you are interested, you can go and look in which way they can help you. So the first one there, in page 6. The first one there is called Renowned Glorious King of Excellent Signs. He has made 8 promises. His color is yellow, and he is in the mudra of granting refuge. Now, unfortunately, here he's in the mudra of teaching. So both is correct. or neither is wrong. You can take it as you, whichever way you want to approach it. Yeah, like if you look at the first one there, he's in the mood of giving refuge like this, the hand slightly raised, or sometimes like this is mood of taking refuge also. Yeah. Whereas then you have this one who is like this, which is the mood of teaching. Now this one is also in the mood of, oh no, actually I'm wrong, sorry. Gosh, look, I accused him of doing something it's not. It is the mood of refuge, because it's, instead of being down, the hand down here, it's up here. So that is the mood of giving protection, or the mood of refuge. I didn't look properly. I thought he had his hands like that. He might have slightly. He does have the thumb and the ring finger together, because it's like that. It's both. It's all four fingers up, the mood of refuge. But it's okay. Yeah. So then he's yellow and he's golden in color, and in the mood of refuge. Then the next one is King of Melodious Sound, Brilliant Radiance of Skill, adorned with jewels, moon and lotus. I don't know what his name is. Yeah, Brilliant Radiance of Skill, adorned with jewels, moon and lotus. That's the next one. He is yellow in color, in the mood of giving. So this one has a mood of refuge. So again, both is correct. However you want to visualize it, it's okay. I don't have those 7 Buddhas who are on top of each other. You do. Yeah, because on this tanka it is as they are here. And on your picture, I'm not sure. Because there's just 2 different lineages or 2 different traditions. Anyway, if you are new, you won't be able to visualize them to that detail anyway, so relax, you know. It's okay. So he also made 8 promises. He can help in 8 different ways when there is problems. Yeah. Then the next one is called Stainless Excellent Gold. He is in the mood of teaching. Great jewel who accomplishes all vows. Golden in color. He has made 4 vows. The next one is the Buddha, Supreme One without sorrow. Supreme Glory, free from sorrow. Fully real, Supreme Glory, free from sorrow. He's kind of light red in color, in the mood of meditative equipoise. That means both hands down here. Yeah, like here's saying. Now, one of the vows of this one, the red one, the Buddha glorious, what is it called? Glory free from sorrow, is that if somebody as a human has heard his name, meaning has planted the seed, you know, hearing things, we plant seeds in our mind streams. Then sometimes when the seeds ripen, it brings happiness, sometimes it brings suffering. Yeah. So if one has made contact with his name, heard his name or recited his name as a human, if then in another life one is reborn in the lower states, then he can send out light rays and then you die immediately. Now, usually death is not a good thing, but I tell you, death as a hell being might be a very good thing. Or death as a hungry ghost, or even death as an animal might not be such a bad thing. And then you will be immediately reborn as a human. And I've led, I think, 3 or 4 Medicine Buddha retreats. And I don't think anything happened here, anything particular. Can't remember. But at Tushita, we had 2 stray dogs who came to die there at that moment. And that's the only 2 stray dogs who came to die there. One came by himself, it was a she, and it was raining, and she was lying in front of the gompa, and I thought she was sleeping, and I thought, I'm not going to chase her away, because it was monsoon time, yeah, it's like August, it rains a lot. I'm not going to chase her out. And then, so she was lying there the whole day, meaning she heard the sadhana. The next day she was lying on the path, dead. Don't know why. Yeah. Another one was hit by a car, and somebody brought the next year, hit by a car and brought her up, and then she also died. In New Zealand, somebody brought a hedgehog who was also hit by a car. It was already dead, but the consciousness was still in the body, because after 3 days we left him next to the altar. So I thought, you know, we were doing animal liberation after 3 days. So I thought, well, I just leave him there, and then we'll take him to the animal liberation. And recite the mantras, blow on the body. You will know what animal liberation is on Saturday. And then on the third day, I was just about to come and get him because he was covered with the white tissue. He had a red drop appearing from his nose. And that is the sign that the consciousness was still in the body, but now the consciousness left. So he's been dead, but the consciousness was still in the body, so he heard the sadhana also. Yeah. In Mexico, there was an ant who brought a dead ant and dropped it right in front of my text. At another time on Tushita, I found a scorpion who had 2 scorpion babies on her. You know, they have them on their claws. Yeah, and then so also I put quite a big container over them. They didn't suffocate. It's impossible. And so after maybe half an hour, one of the baby scorpions was dead. So it's quite amazing. It's really amazing. And as long, when you start doing those things repeatedly, then when it happens again and again and again, you go like, maybe that's true. So that's the Buddha without sorrow. So just, you see, the benefit of just reciting those names is incredible because of their very powerful vows that they've made. When we recite the names, because the name is associated with those vows, with those promises, the prayers that they made, how they will be able to benefit others. We activate that energy. We're able to receive that energy. This is why we do it, Otherwise we're closed to receive the energy when we haven't made contact. That's why. Yeah, one needs certain mind states to be able to receive that energy. One needs to create the conditions for the energy, the healing energy, to be able to work. And one of those conditions is faith and trust. Yeah, and appreciation that there's something there that can help us. So the next one is what's his name? Ocean of Proclaimed Dharma. He again is in the mudra of teaching. Here he's in the mudra of giving. It's okay. He is pink in color. Then the next one is Buddha, Delightful King of Clear Knowing. He's coral red in the mudra of giving. So that's the same here and the same here. So those have made 8 vows. Oh, something I forgot actually. And this you can witness. This you can really see. At the beginning they had Christmas lights around them. And the second one there, if you look there, it looks as if a fire started, but there was never a fire. But it's black. You see that? When you see the blue thing and then the wooden, the brown, how do you call this? I don't know how to call this in English. Frame. If you look at the brown frame, the second one, there's a fire. There was a fire, a small fire there, but there was never a fire. So the second one is the one who promised, like, this universe will be destroyed by fire. That's the prediction. We're going very much towards that, yeah? Because you see, the universe is also impermanent. So the universe will also destroy itself, same as everything else. This microphone will go out of existence, this table will go out of existence, my body will go out of existence, all those things will go, everything will go out of existence at one point. So same the universe. The universe is the thing that is the most stable, so it stays the longest, but at one point, And then there's other universes in Buddhism, so it's not okay that we destroy it, but we're just creating the condition now for this to be able to happen. Yeah. So then at that time, this second Buddha, melodious sound, brilliant radiance of skill, adorned with jewels, moon and lotus, is the one who will cool tormenting fires for those who have made contact with him in previous lives. So if we are still around at that time, if we haven't attained enlightenment yet, so then this one might come in handy. And look, where the fire started, so poof, it went out. And this we did, it's not a trick, we didn't put shoe cream there, black thing. Usually, the fire should start if it's like that. Both is wood. So like this. So then, the last one is on page 8. So that is to you, Buddha, Medicine Guru, King of Lapis Light, fully realized, destroyer of all defilements, fully accomplished Buddha, has fully realized the absolute truth of all phenomena. I prostrate, go for refuge and make offerings. May you vow to benefit sentient beings now ripen for myself and others. So this is the main medicine Buddha. So that's the lapis lazuli, blue, or Baidurya, blue Buddha. And he's the one who has a bowl, Yeah. So why is he the main medicine Buddha? Because in all his previous lives, or in many of his previous lives, he was an actual doctor, a physician. And he started to understand that just making people's bodies healthy, it's not doing the trick. It doesn't create a better society. It doesn't make people happier the way they would like to be happy, you know. Healthy bodies don't necessarily create healthy minds. I mean, how many mornings do you wake up and say, oh great, I'm healthy, I'm happy? If you're depressed and somebody comes and says, but you're healthy, does that help? Nothing. Yet we think, you know, when we're sick, when the body's full of pain, then we go, oh, if there wouldn't be any pain, then I'd be happy. It's not true. You weren't that happy when the pain wasn't there yet. It's not true. But we firmly believe it, and that's our problem. So he was a physician, and then he met Buddhism somehow, and then started on the Bodhisattva path and made those 12 promises, 12 prayers. This is why he is the most powerful one. That's why he's the main medicine Buddha. A, because he was a physician in many of his previous lives, so he knows everything about healing. And that's why he said, I will become the healing Buddha, you know, helping people with sicknesses. And B, because he has made the most vows. Yeah? Like each Buddha, each Bodhisattva kind of knows in what way they want to be of help. So, for example, if you have a problem with anger, you know, lots of anger always, so you would practice the Buddha of Compassion, Chenresik. Now, practicing Chenresik in the short run helps you with your anger. If you just practice the mantra, the visualization, whatever. But you have to do it. You have to make a sustained effort. Yeah, not just one afternoon. You know, for eons and eons of anger. That's not helping much. You see, our problem also is that we want to purify quickly, right? So, if you visualize, if you think, all the negative actions that we have done, just look at the negative thoughts that go through our mind just in one day. And then try to figure out how many days we've had just in this body. And you multiply that by those negative thoughts that we have in one day. You know, it's a lot. So they say it's like oceans. Yeah? And then maybe half an hour we do purification practice. So that's like taking a cup and taking some water out of that ocean. Now, it's good because that cup of water is gone. But do you see a difference? Will you see a difference in the ocean when you take out a cup? You don't even have to think of an ocean. Just think of a bathtub. You know, if you just think in terms of one lifetime, maybe then we can say, okay, we have a bathtub and it's full of water, that's our negativities, but it's stuck. So you have to empty it from above. So all you have is a cup, right? Or maybe even a saucepan. It's fine for me. Or maybe a bucket. I'm not sure. But let's say we have a cup, because half an hour is only a cup. Yeah, we don't have a bucket to do, because a bucket to do purification practices would mean at least a 3 months Vajrasattva retreat. Then you have a bucket. If you just do a 2.5 day thing, you don't have a bucket to purify. You have a cup. Okay, so you have your bathtub full of negativities. You have a cup, and you take out one cup. One session. Then you look. Do you see a difference? Do you see that there is less water? Hello? No. But is there less water? Yes, exactly. That's why we should not look if there, because if you look and say, oh, I don't see any difference, you give up. You say, oh, it doesn't work. But if you're smart, you can say, yes, it worked because one cup is out. And if I want to have this bathtub empty, I just have to continue. No point complaining. Complaining doesn't empty the bathtub. I just have to continue. So that's how it works with our negative karmas. So in Buddhism, as a Buddhist, you don't just think of one lifetime. You think of beginningless lifetime. So that is an ocean. And then we have a cup. But each cup you take out is gone. So if you just keep going, at one point, even the ocean can be emptied. Because the mind we always take with us. Yeah, the ocean is like the ocean. You couldn't empty an ocean in one lifetime because you die. Yeah, but the mind you take with you. The bathtub we take with us. That's okay. Yeah. So we just have to make sure we take the cup with us. The cup is our practice. Yeah. Don't go to your next life without the cup.
It's a little bit of a discouraging metaphor.
That's what we think. It is not. Again, you see, I can't repeat that enough. In Buddhism, we point things out as they are. We don't fool ourselves into going, this is easy and it will be quick. And you will see, if you start to get used to that, you feel yourself relaxing. Instead of being, but it will take so long, you relax. Because why? Why do you relax? Because you know it doesn't have to happen today. As long as we have this mind, but it has to be quick. This is why we jump from one practice to the other. We're not diligent, we don't persevere. This is just discouraging at the beginning. Afterwards, when you keep hearing this, you go, well, of course, you know. And then we relax and we just continue. We just plod on. Has anybody made that experience of being able to just plod on when you hear that, this takes a long time? In a much more relaxed way. See, some people nod, you can't see them. Yeah. So you just have to trust me, you know. Why is it discouraging? Because we have this habit of having everything right now, instant enlightenment. And actually, His Holiness, he started crying I think it was in New York, when somebody asked him, but isn't there anything quicker than that? Quicker and easier, he said. The person asked, you know. And then His Holiness started crying. He cries quite often, actually. He's very spontaneous. When he wants to laugh, he needs to laugh. He feels like laughing, he laughs. When he feels like crying, he has big tears rolling down his cheeks, you know, with not just one camera, but like 20 cameras in front of him, 20 microphones in front of him. And then he has a handkerchief here. We have a pocket here. He takes out the handkerchief. Doesn't last long, 1-2 minutes. Takes out the handkerchief, puts on his glasses, and he goes... By now, people know, so they switch off the microphone when he takes out the handkerchief. So you don't hear it anymore. He is so ordinary. He is so natural. So everything is right out there. You know, all his emotions are out there for you to see. He doesn't hide anything whatsoever. So he started crying. Sometimes he cries because he's moved, you know, by bodhicitta, compassion, things like that. But there you could see he was sad. And then he said, after having blown his nose, he said, as long as people have this attitude, they will not attain enlightenment. So, you see, this is this whole thing. It's not discouraging. We make it discouraging because we think everything has to happen now. You know, it doesn't have to happen now. Why? You know, we've been existing since beginningless time. We have time. The mind doesn't go out of existence. We do have time. So we can give ourselves the space and the time to practice. Yeah. Okay. You see, this weekend we will do reciting the names of the 7 medicine Buddhas. Because they have practiced 3.5 countless eons, we can do that. If they wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't be sitting here. We wouldn't be able to discuss it. We wouldn't have the statues. We wouldn't be able to recite those names. Do you know how long an eon is? I can give you an analogy. If you have a very high mountain, and then somebody builds a house next to it and has a silken cloth, and with the silken cloth, every 100 years, once, they wipe the mountain with the silken cloth. When the mountain is worn away, the eon is not finished yet. You can't say it in numbers because it's too small for us. It's only a Buddha's mind who can grasp how long an eon is. This is why they can say it takes 3.5 countless eons from entering the path, and we haven't even entered the path yet. Yeah, but it doesn't matter because the mind exists anyway. So we might as well practice. We might as well go towards that goal of attaining Buddhahood, so that at one point we have actualized our own potential to be able to help people when they just recite our name or our mantra. So like that. So this is the main Buddha, the main medicine Buddha, king of lapis lazuli light. Now all 7 of them, now okay, of course, if you're sharp, then what? How many do we have here? 8. Who is the 8th? Anybody knows? Why? Did he live at the same time? No. Why is Shakyamuni Buddha there? Why? Which teachings? Oh, this is so cruel, isn't it? Because probably none of you knows. Because Nancy is not here. She probably the only... Oh, Maureen maybe knows. You see, it's only a Buddha who can recognize a Buddha as a Buddha. It's only a Buddha who can see a Buddha's body, meaning a rainbow body. Yeah. So Shakyamuni Buddha was asked by Manjushri, who was one of the 8 bodhisattvas, to expound the sutra on those 7, or on the vows of the 7 medicine Buddhas. So this is why Shakyamuni Buddha, who was a historical Buddha, from where we still have the teachings now, like the Four Noble Truths and all that, he taught, or he expounded that sutra, giving the names of the Buddhas, how they look, what kind of aspirations they made as a bodhisattva, and in which Pure Land they live, or how the Pure Land where they live, how it looks. So this is why Shakyamuni Buddha is there. Because without Shakyamuni Buddha, we wouldn't know about the 7 medicine Buddhas. So that's why sometimes you talk about the 8 medicine Buddhas, because without him, we wouldn't have. And anyway, you know, we only have different Buddhas because our mind is very dualistic. So if we have a Buddha for compassion, then we're very happy about this, you know. If we have a Buddha for healing, that's the medicine Buddha, we're very happy about this. If we have a Buddha for wisdom, then that's Manjushri, we're happy about this. If we have a Buddha for, you know, when we have worldly, we need to do worldly activities and everything is stuck, that's Green Tara, she's female, then we do that, and we're very happy about this. We have more faith if we get the specialists, kind of, you know. You go and see a GP, not so much faith. You go and see a specialist, lots of faith. So this is why the Buddhas manifest in different ways and forms. And it's, you know, a Buddha's body is created by compassion. So of course the vows that they made forms that body in such a way. Compassion. Yeah, that's why they look different. So when that sutra was expounded, a few questions were asked. Like, for example, Ananda asked Shakyamuni, because in general, you know, you read, like, if you get angry at the Buddha, if you disparage a Buddha, then you create a lot of negative karma. So this is why I'm saying, it's okay if you feel negative about it, or if you've never done that and you feel kind of, you know, rejecting and this and that, but don't buy into that. Just go, train the mind to say, okay, it's not for me, fair enough. Don't go, oh, those people, they're all stupid, you know. They believe in this, how can this work like this? Don't allow your mind to think those thoughts. Really don't. Because you're not harming Buddhism or any Buddha, you're just harming yourself. What happens is you create blocks so that in the future you cannot do those practices. Always doubt, disbelief, blind disbelief. You think we think we're very smart and intelligent, and we look down on people who have blind belief. We're more stupid than those. Because at least they opened the door for a miracle to happen. Mexico, plenty of miracles happen. Why? Because people believe in it. There is no miracles, but there's also no non-miracles. Ooh, that sounds very clever, isn't it? This is about emptiness, yeah? So, yeah. Don't get confused with that. There's no real miracles and there's no real non-miracles, you know? But just because we can't understand something, we're very arrogant, you know? We think that something that we can't see or touch or hear or smell or taste doesn't exist. We completely trust our senses. What we can't measure does not exist. And then we limit ourselves. Whereas if you're not so limited, you open the door for those things to happen. Actually, one lady in Mexico, she asked me, she said, oh, you know, you Buddhists, yeah, you don't have miracles. She wanted to become a Buddhist, but she liked miracles very much. So I said, what do you mean? What is a miracle for you? So I said, if you think a miracle is something that it exists, even if it doesn't exist, then no, we don't have miracles. Because something that doesn't exist cannot exist. It's completely contradicting logic. Yeah. But if you think a miracle is something that happens that we can't complain, we cannot explain or understand, us humans, why it happens, then yeah, we have plenty of miracles. Oh, she was very relieved. Yeah. Now, of course, in Switzerland we don't have any miracles. Why? Because nobody believes in them. And Swiss people are very proud about not believing in miracles, and it's so stupid. It's so silly, and it's very arrogant. And it's what is called blind disbelief. It's just as stupid as blind belief, even more stupid maybe, you know? Unreasonable. And one is proud about this. I don't believe in that stuff. I don't need that stuff. Sure. Nobody forces you to believe it. Nobody forces you to do this. You make the decision. So don't allow the mind to go too negative about this thing and criticizing. If it just goes negative, I don't like this, okay. But then when you give yourself reasons for not liking it, you make it very strong. That's in general for other Buddhas. So Ananda asked the Shakyamuni Buddha, what about if somebody doesn't believe this? What about if somebody gets negative? Then the Shakyamuni Buddha said, now this is great. So you can actually let your mind go into a negative state with the medicine Buddha. Because Ananda said, and it's in the sutra, you can read it, he said, the power of the medicine Buddhas is so strong that even somebody criticizes it, but at least they make contact. And then a bit later down the line, their mind changes. So, no need to worry. You can be as negative as you want this weekend. But it won't help. This is the thing. Try to see when the negative mind comes up. What does it say? You know, what does it do? Does it really help me to be the person I want to be, or to become the person that I want to be? Just check. Just check what the negative mind, the criticizing mind, does it. And then look, my criticism, is it based on valid reasoning, or is it just a view that I can't even prove? Yeah. And then think about the cup and the ocean, or the cup and the bathtub. How can I see a difference? But even I don't see a difference, there is one cup less. But I can't see it. So one vow that all the 7 medicine Buddhas made, they said they will activate their powers, especially in what is called degenerate times. And there is, sometimes it's called the times of the 5 degenerations. And there is signs when the times are degenerate. Like, for example, when Shakyamuni Buddha was on this earth, it was the time of, I can't remember what's it called, probably the time of, maybe I have it somewhere. Yeah, the time during Buddha's existence. So when people had contact with Shakyamuni Buddha directly, although there were very few people who criticized him, but very, very few. But people just meeting the Buddha were very inspired, and it was quite easy for them to practice because there was a lot of faith. It's the same. If you're very close to your teacher, if you're very close to the Dalai Lama, it's very easy to practice. Yeah, because there's a lot of faith and trust. Yeah. So this is the time during a Buddha. So being virtuous comes very easy. Then comes the time, then, it goes into degeneration. So it starts to degenerate, like the Buddhas pass away. And, it can be shocking to know that. But when the Buddha passed away, because quite a few of his monks were completely relying on him, which is not the message of the Buddha. And actually a few of his monks committed suicide when he died. What shall we do without the Buddha? Complete misunderstanding. That's why he died. That's why he passed on. To show impermanence, to kind of say, now you have to practice. I cannot give you enlightenment. You have to do the practices yourself. So that can be quite shocking to know that even some, not all, some of his monks who hadn't attained arhatship yet kind of committed suicide. Some others continued to practice and attained arhatship after he had passed away. And Ananda is a good example. Ananda is one of them. And he practiced very hard, and he just couldn't get it. He just couldn't get it. He couldn't cut through that last veil of ignorance. And actually, he said he cut that last veil through his ignorance when he gave up, because he had to be an arhat the next day, because there was a council of arhats to see how to propound the teachings of the Buddhas, how to go on about this. So they said you can only come if you are an arhat. Arhat meaning having realized emptiness directly. So he practiced very hard until 3 o'clock in the morning, and then he gave up. You see, giving up is not always giving up. He relaxed. And then all his practices were kind of, because he had a relaxed mind, they gave the fruit. And it says, that he went to sleep, and just before the head hit the pillow, he realized emptiness. Ananda. Ananda is one of the most famous ones, yeah, of his disciples, of the Buddha. He was his attendant. It's his name, isn't it? Yeah, Ananda. So, then, how did we get onto that? Degenerate times. Okay, so there's the time of the Buddha, when very easy to be virtuous. Then the Buddha passes on, and then there's the time of representations. People make huge representations of the Buddha, like the Banyan Buddhas, and other big statues. Now it's Lama Zopa Rinpoche who's planning this big statue, but usually now people make, not such big statues in general. It's all small, less. Yeah. And then the third time, or the third era, is what we have now, is called the time of degeneration. Yeah, when things get, smaller. And there's 5 degenerations. And it's degeneration of time, and that means a lot of things are polluted. Especially like medicines and food, who is supposed to sustain our life, becomes harming. It's doing some benefit, but it's doing more harm than benefit. We can see that. All the allergies that we have to food, medicines have a lot of side effects, so you need a medicine for the side effect, which then has another side effect, and then we need another medicine for that side effect. Yeah. Then degeneration of views, when negative emotions, afflictive emotions become something positive, you get rewarded. These days being very violent, being very aggressive seems a good thing. Otherwise, if you don't retaliate when you have the power, people think you're stupid and you're a wimp. Nobody admires you for that. They think you're weak. Whereas you go and you get a medal, you become a hero. Or if you are in business, if you the one who can cheat the people the best into buying their products gets the best salary. So being dishonest is a good thing, is being rewarded. So this is the degeneration of views, having wrong views, thinking that it's a good thing. Yeah. Then the degeneration of afflictions, like the afflictions also become stronger. So sometimes it's good to know that we are living in the time where there is a lot of afflictions and there's a lot of failure to remove them. Does that make you more relaxed? Knowing that it comes with this time, that it is very difficult to remove the delusions. And we fail. But the only failure is when you give up. That's only failing. Yeah? When you stop, when you throw your cup away and you say, oh, this bathtub is never going to be empty. What does that help? Because you need an empty bathtub. If you want to have clean water, you need to get the dirty water out. Otherwise, you'll never be able to take a clean bath anymore. Yeah, so like that. So if it doesn't work immediately, it's normal. It's the zeitgeist. How do you say in English? It's a good, worldview. It's actually a good word, zeitgeist. It's the spirit of the time, the view of the time, zeitgeist. Then the degeneration of beings, meaning it's very difficult to have stable friendships and relationships. Oh, there we can definitely see that. How friendships and relationships are constantly falling apart. It's a sign of degenerate times. And lifespan, like degeneration of lifespan, we could say that, people get so old. But in general, like it's, this has been written 2,500 years ago, very difficult to survive. It's true, it becomes more and more difficult to survive, to live out one's lifespan without being killed or murdered, either by accident or by somebody killing you, murdering you. So we can see those signs. Actually, there's other signs, if you know more in detail. One sign is when there's no more music, just rhythm. That's interesting. One other sign is when people walk around with a weapon in their pockets. And then this sign when food and medicine becomes poisoning, is poison, creates more problems. Okay, so those 7 medicine Buddhas, they have made special prayers that especially now at this time they will be active. That if anybody makes those prayers, recites those names, it's much more powerful than if you would have done it at the time of Shakyamuni Buddha. So, even in degenerate times there's good things. So we have to practice less in order to get more result. So kind of our cup is bigger than it would have been at the time of Shakyamuni Buddha, because we are living in degenerate times. Okay, what more? Then in the sutra it says, so then of course people they have disbelief, but because then of the power of Shakyamuni Buddha, as he was explaining that sutra, the 7 medicine Buddhas came from their pure lands, manifested in front of all those people, and together manifested that that mantra. Yeah, if you look on page 8. Page 8, there is a mantra. So out of the urna, like a historical Buddha, or the emanation body of a Buddha has a top. It's not the third eye. It's called urna. It's a hair that you can pull out and then it goes back in. It's called urna. So from that spot, they manifested that mantra. All 7 medicine Buddhas together. And it goes Om Namo Bhagavate Bekenze Guru Vaidurya Prabharachaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyaksam Buddhaya Dayata Om Bekenze Bekenze Maha Bekenze Bekenze Raja Samugatis Soha. I haven't got my packet with me. Do you have an explanation of that mantra somewhere? You might have. But maybe we can just quickly go through it in case you don't. Oh, maybe it's in here. In the visualization. Yeah, you have something that says visualization? Okay. Om is page, there's no pages. Second last page. Everybody found it? So Om means symbolizes everything auspicious. Actually, Om comes from 3 syllables, Aum, which means body, speech and mind of a Buddha. So whenever you hear the syllable Om, which is made of Aum, means the next thing that comes is an enlightened being, in Buddhism. Then Namo is homage, I prostrate. Bhagavate, having destroyed, overcome the 2 obscurations. The 2 obscurations is like one has obscurations to liberation, and those are removed by removing all the delusions. But then one also has obscurations to omniscience, to becoming a fully enlightened Buddha, and those are only removed through compassion when one has removed the imprints of those delusions. The delusions themselves, they are gone, but the imprint is still there, like the foot in the sand, right? So when you take the foot out, the imprint is still there. Foot is gone, but something is still there. So that is removed through the Bodhisattva path, becoming a fully enlightened Buddha. We can't go into details here because that would go too far. But those are the 2 obscurations. Obscuration to liberation is like you get out of samsara. Your suffering is finished, but you're not of benefit to anybody else. Self-liberation. An arhat, foe destroyer. The Hinayana goal. Or then you continue to practice where you then eliminate the obscurations to omniscience, which is you get rid of the imprint of those afflictive emotions. Then you become a full enlightened Buddha with those qualities. An arhat cannot send out light. A Buddha's body, a Buddha's rainbow body spontaneously emits healing light, has these powers. A Buddha has like many, many powers, how they can help. But we have to be open to receive that help. This is why we want to attain fully. We want to become fully enlightened Buddhas. If you want, if you don't want, that's fine. Then, Bekenze Guru. Guru means master, teacher. Bekenze means healing or medicine. Vaidurya, lapis lazuli. Now there is big debate that it's not lapis lazuli, but it might be beryl. Beryl is a transparent stone which is incredibly rare and incredibly expensive. But some people are still convinced it's lapis lazuli. It doesn't matter. It's just blue, like sky blue. So we have something lapis lazuli. Yeah, like a bit clearer than your folder. Actually, this is almost a bit too dark on the thing here. Maybe like this. Lapis lazuli. Well, we all know how lapis lazuli. It's dark. No, it's darker than this. Anyway, lapis lazuli. You know how lapis. You say different in America. How do you say? Lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli. Okay. Actually, lapis just means stone, by the way. It's the lazuli who makes it blue. So that's called Vaidurya. Yeah, Vaidurya. The medicine Buddha is known as the lapis, not the lapis Buddha, it's the lapis lazuli Buddha, because lapis only means stone. Then Prabha Rajaya. Prabha means light. Rajaya, of course, Raja, Maharaja in Sanskrit, in Hindi, the king of light. Tathagataya, the one gone to bliss or suchness. Tathagata is the one gone beyond. So that shows, Tathagata means there's a path, and he's gone beyond that path. You see the whole thing also about practicing Buddhism meditation. You go beyond like and dislike. Where do you go to? To peace. Because like is not peace, dislike is also not peace. Like wants more, dislike wants to get rid of it. So you go beyond like and dislike. That's the goal. Beyond suffering. So that's a Tathagata, the one who has gone beyond. Gata means gone beyond. Arhate is a foe destroyer, so that would be the Hinayana goal. Somebody who has destroyed all the delusions, the first of the two obscurations, the obscuration to liberation. Samyaksam Buddhaya. Samyaksam means altogether, complete. Samyaksam, everything. Buddhaya, of course, the Buddha is so pure, perfect, and complete Buddha. Then Tayata, this is many mantras, start with that. Tayata means it is like this. That's the way it is. How is it in the Bible? Huh? Yeah, no, that's in the sutras. Thus have I heard. Thus have I heard. Because Ananda, most of the sutras come from Ananda, and this is why he starts, thus have I heard. Om, again, symbolizes auspiciousness, or is the body, speech, and mind of a Buddha. Bekenze, medicine, Maha Bekenze, great physician. Actually, this great medicine. So you can look upon this in different ways. There's three times medicine, yeah? So one could be, for those who are familiar with the Lamrim, and for those who are not, I'm sorry, but we can't really go too much into details, like the medicine that cures or empties the lower realms. Yeah? Hell, hungry ghosts, and animals. Then the second Bekenze, the one who completely empties all of samsara. All the suffering of samsara. Yeah? We don't have the suffering of the lower states, but we still have some suffering. So the second Bekenze empties the lower, the kind of everything in samsara. The third Bekenze actually empties out nirvana, kicks the arhats out of their eternal peace, and goes, hey, come on, get your act together and become fully enlightened beings. Yeah, so it empties those three states. Lower states, samsara, and self-liberation, nirvana. Maybe good for those who study a bit. There are 4 different nirvanas. It's good to know that also. Have you heard about them? Denise? No? When you did Discovering Buddhism, Nirvana and Samsara? Well, it's a long time ago, yeah. So it's okay. So if you don't use it and if we don't repeat, you see, I don't know so much. I don't have a good memory. I just have to repeat those things all the time. This is why I remember. So don't think I'm smarter than you are. I'm not. So the first nirvana is natural nirvana. What could that be? What could that be? Oh, come on. What can that be? Natural nirvana. Natural, nature. What is it? Our own Buddha potential. not developed, but it's there. So, don't make the mistake, well, I am a Buddha, I just don't know it, and so therefore I don't need to do anything. If you would really realize that you don't have to do anything, you would be a Buddha, but you don't, It's no point, if you want to go to Delhi and you're somewhere, it's no point being in Delhi and not knowing that you are in Delhi. You're still not in Delhi. Yeah? So like that. But the seed is there. The Buddha potential that has to be not developed. This is a good thing to know. So in Buddhism we don't develop anything, we get rid of things. We get rid of the delusions. And we get rid of self-cherishing. So develop means actually you do develop something, you get rid of something. Something that is enveloped or hidden, you get rid of that which hides that potential. The potential itself, you don't really have to develop it. The potential is there, but you have to get rid of what hides it. So then there's two other nirvanas, which is one is called nirvana with remainder. You might have heard that term, and the other one is called nirvana without remainder. So that talks about the self-liberation, an arhat nirvana. Like when you attain, when you are not, you kind of samsara is finished, but you still have this body where you attain that mind state. And this body still comes from sperm and egg, which are contaminated causes. So your mind is in nirvana, but the body still then dies because it's contaminated. So that is what is called nirvana with remainder. Your mind is in nirvana, but your body still has to die. Yeah, because it's still impermanent, wasting, kind of going into. Okay. And then when you go into nirvana, and it's just the mind, then it's called nirvana without remainder. Where you just, there's no body, there's no action, there's nothing, you're just there in eternal peace. How does that sound? Yeah? You want to go there? No, it's okay. It's okay to be attracted by that. Because most of the people think it will be terribly boring. Because we have no clue. We don't know the bliss of peace. That's why we're not even attracted to that. Although deep down, this longing that we have when we open the fridge and look for the cheesecake, the longing that we have, that's what we long for, this peace, this silence. Because that's our nature. It's the expression of our Buddha potential, knowing that there's something much better than cheesecake. It's not to be found in the fridge. That's true. So we're looking in the wrong place. So, because we don't know the bliss of peace, this is why we're not even attracted to that. It would be great to have that. But as a Mahayana practitioner, we say, no, we have no right to just work for our own peace. So we then work for what is called nirvana, non-abiding nirvana. Like you have a mind that is in complete nirvana, but you take on suffering bodies so that people, because you want to benefit beings, yeah, so that they can make contact with you. So you could be not, you're not reincarnated by the force of your karma, you're reincarnated by the force of your compassion. And of course the wisdom to know where and how you will be reincarnated, somewhere where it's of benefit. So that is called non-abiding nirvana. Right? So the third kind of, so Bekenze, Maha Bekenze, there's another Bekenze, Raja is king of medicine. So again, it's the first time I see this explanation of the mantra. I've had different explanations, but of course it's like, whatever is meaningful is good, because the mantras are quite obscure. And we don't necessarily need to know exactly what it means. Mantras are not like arbitrary words. Mantras, the Buddhas manifest the mantras. So for us it is enough to repeat them. It's okay, we don't need to know what it means. Actually, it's very nice. I read one thing once about secrets, and I think it was in a book about women called Running with the Wolves or something like that. Do you know that book? Yeah, okay. It's quite a nice book. And there it says, like secrets, and they say, you know the secret? It loses its power. Has some truth in it, because we take it apart. You see, the problem is with those practices when it has to do with Tantra, like visualizing Buddhas, saying mantras, and then we want to understand. So we take a Buddha's accomplishment, who is really very, very high, and for us inconceivable. We take it down here because we need to understand it, and then we take away the secret. We take away the magic. No, not magic. Not a good word. The kind of, its highness, its nobleness. It's because we need to fit it to our mind, and then, yeah. So if you can recite mantras without even needing to know what it means, they work tremendously. But if we always want to know what it means, we are like the person who takes the watch apart and then we can't put it together anymore. And then it doesn't work. Maybe we know each part, but then it doesn't work anymore.
I know that you said that. Can you tell us what page that's on again?
There is no page. Second last page. There is an excerpt here, which says Visualization for Medicine Buddha Mantra Recitation. It's in your packet. You're not looking in the right book. I mean, the mantra itself is on page 8, but it doesn't have the explanation. So here is an explanation of the long mantra. Yeah. So the fourth Bekenze could represent this high accomplishment of a Buddha. Then again is the words Raja or Rajda, Raja, king, and then Samugate, ocean of goodness. Again, there can be different, this could be like the king who is an ocean of goodness, or it could be the king who has crossed the ocean of samsara, because there's the word gate here, which means gone. Yeah, Samudra means ocean in Hindi. So I guess Samu could mean, because sometimes they just take syllables and put them together and then it means a whole thing. Yeah. So it could mean the king who has crossed the ocean of samsara, has gone beyond the ocean of samsara. It could mean both. Then Soha means may all these pure and excellent things, the promises that those Buddhas made, take root in my mind stream. Soha. Like that. So that's what the mantra means. But in order to recite the mantra, do the visualization, you don't need to know what it means. So that's the nice thing, isn't it? Anyway, you were given this book, Ultimate Healing, which explains a lot about the Medicine Buddha, the benefits of it. So I would say let go of wanting to read anything else during the retreat, and just so that you get the most out of this retreat, and just look at it, because that's why you were giving it. And maybe once you go back to your daily life, you might not have time to read it. So it will make your retreat quite meaningful if you do read it, if you do use it. And we will use some of the visualizations, some of the meditations in the retreat. Do you have any questions about the Medicine Buddhas? Yes? No? Some of the notes that I have here, kind of collected them over time. So I might include them as we go along and practice it in the meditations, or, as we recite it. So maybe before I let you go to sleep, it's like we still have like quarter of an hour. In case you're very tired, maybe sometimes good to know what time it is. It's 8:45. If you would be at home, you probably wouldn't even think of wanting to go to sleep at 8:45. Is it? Is it? Yeah. So, I'm really tired. Then of course you become really tired because you make it real. Yeah. But then when you go, hey, it's 8:45, it's okay. Then don't think, but tomorrow I have to get up at 6. So we just go quickly through the sadhana so that you know what we will be doing 4 times a day tomorrow. It's page 3 in the green book. Now we have the green book. This is the practice book. So at the beginning we will do the visualization. And at this point, if when we do the practice, you can sit, close your eyes, and try to imagine. And very often people say, I can't visualize. We can visualize very well. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Visualize the shop that you usually go to shop. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. And imagine the shop where you buy most of your stuff, food. Is it difficult to visualize it? Can you see all the aisles exactly, where the things are, where you have to go out and pay? Yeah? Okay. So that's visualization. When you are familiar with something that you are attached to, that you like, very easy to visualize. And it is as if you're in the shop. So don't expect that to happen tomorrow, because you're not familiar with the medicine Buddha. Yeah? Now, if you just go to a shop like 2 minutes and come out again, and then maybe 3 years later somebody says, remember that shop? You go, oh, nothing. So we can only visualize when we are familiar with something. And when we have interest, when our mind is awake, because our mind is awake when we go to the shop because we want something. Yeah? So if I would tell you you have to visualize, the way how you came here, where are the trees, where is this and that, it wouldn't work. But the things that you want to buy, this we remember. Because why? Because the mind is awake. The mind is there. This is how it goes. Easy. Yeah? So it won't happen tomorrow because you're not used to it. But so then you do as best as you can. The main thing is that you see, the Buddhas are always there. They made that promise. If somebody invokes them, this is why also the statues here, they're not empty statues. They are filled with millions of mantras who sit in different mantras in exactly the right place. Yeah? Precious stones, medicine, other things. And then one invites tantric monks who know how to do those rituals. And then the statues get consecrated, meaning one invites the enlightened energy to enter the statue. That's why the actual Buddhas are sitting there. Our mind is so thick that what we see is a dead statue. So there again, if you can open up. And they say, just to sit in front of those statues, even that is like being in washing machines where your negative karma gets washed, even with you not being that present or knowing what's going on or whatever. So just sitting here is great. Then reciting the names and doing things is even much better. It's even much better. You don't say like that. So the main thing is that you try to, not to feel, because then people want to feel, you sit in front of your favorite chocolate, your eyes are closed, you don't feel anything. Yeah, but the chocolate is there. You know that the chocolate is there. Or you're in love with somebody. The person is there. You close your eyes. You know that the person is there. So you feel something. Because why? Because you trust that the person is there. So this is kind of the mind. Just try to trust that the Buddhas are there. Yeah? Even you don't feel anything. If you feel something, good. But not feeling anything is not having failed. Don't produce those feelings, They should come, if they come spontaneously, that's great. But sometimes we feel very inspired and then we start crying. And we feel protected and cared for and whatever. Sometimes nothing. Sometimes we can become very negative. Don't produce anything. Just be relaxed. So I will guide you through that visualization so that you can try to do the details. Yeah. Then taking refuge, generating bodhicitta. Of course, if you're not a Buddhist, that's very difficult to say, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections may I become Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. But please, again, don't forget, this is a Buddhist retreat. So we do a Buddhist practice. The first thing what that one does, before one does any practice, is one takes refuge. Taking refuge is 2 mental factors. Having fear of future suffering, you need that. Otherwise you will not have the diligence to continue. Yeah, if you're not afraid of our suffering getting worse in our next life, we won't practice. So fear is a good word. We have to use that energy of the fear, because fear gives us the energy to change something. Fear gives us the energy to do something that we not necessarily like or is pleasant. Only fear does that. We don't have the wisdom yet. But there's also fear which is completely panicking for nothing, that's no good. Yeah. So we try to have fear with wisdom, being afraid of the right things. Being afraid of death, that doesn't help. Everybody has to die. But being afraid of not doing the right things before you die, that's good fear. Because it will hold you back when your negative mind will push you to do something negative. Fear of getting sick will be, you will be able to stop smoking. If you're not afraid of getting sick, you won't have enough energy to stop smoking. If you don't see the disadvantage, if you're not afraid of the disadvantage of smoking, you won't be able to stop if you're very attached to it. Is that true? No, of course not.
And having respect for something that's very powerful?
No. But we don't. We would like to have that, but we don't. But there's one case, 2, maybe 3, maybe more. What other cases can make you stop smoking? Huh?
Fear of death?
Yeah, that would be fear of kind of sickness, death. No, there's other cases.
Maybe a loved one that you don't want to
Right.
have lose you.
Yeah, it's true. If you are together with somebody and you know I'm going to lose this person if I continue to smoke, that you might be able, but it's attachment, right? That then you might be able, it's not respect for the other. It's because I don't want to lose that person. Because if that person, you stop smoking, and that person says, oh sorry, I can't live with you, goodbye, what's the first thing you would say? But I gave up smoking for you. Mm-hmm. So you see, we have to be very clear about our motivation. But there is one thing that I think is very, very close to love when a woman is pregnant. And she knows that it's very bad for the baby if she smokes. It's quite easy to give up smoking. A partner, I'm not sure if it's really just respect for the other one, or because it doesn't want to harm the other one, but as an unborn baby who is so vulnerable, when we start to understand that, I think then it's quite easy to have that. So whatever, if you don't need to use fear, then that's fine. But I need to use fear, otherwise I'm not behaving the way I should behave. And I find this fear very useful. Very, very useful. I don't see this as something, I'm weak, I'm afraid, something like that. I find it very, very useful. It really puts me into the right direction. And then it becomes a habit. Then you don't need to fear anymore. But this is just an initial kick. I know a lot of Westerners have such a big problem with this word fear. But most of the things we do it out of fear. Now, Eric told you about the water. So why then do you go through the trouble of getting a bottle of mineral water instead of opening the tap to brush your teeth? Much easier. So check, when you brush your teeth with your bottled water. Why? 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 Yeah, because you're afraid. You have fear of getting sick. It's a good fear. If you're not afraid of getting sick, probably like me, because I used the Indian tap water to brush my teeth, so I guess I can survive the L&B tap water. But I don't drink it also. I don't drink it, why? Because out of fear. So this is why I go through the trouble of finding myself a bottle and come to the dining room and fill that bottle when it's empty. It would be much easier to just open the tap. If I wouldn't have this fear, I would drink the water. So I have a big problem with this word. You can call it compassion for yourself, but it's not as strong as fear. Try to be able to use that word in the right way. The right fear is a good thing, gives us tremendous energy and wisdom. This is why when we take refuge, we are afraid of the future suffering. We ask, it's only when we understand our suffering that we can take refuge. I tell you, I go to Israel and we do meditation courses there. There's 80 people. Every time. Between 80 and 200. They have discovered that meditation really helps. Because why? Because they practice. Because there's no hope that something outside will change. It just gets worse and worse and worse. And they see that meditation really helps. They suffer. So they need a refuge. We think we don't suffer. We don't need a refuge. For many people, these spiritual practice is just entertainment. We have to understand that we suffer. This is why we're doing this. Otherwise, we just jump from one practice to the other. It's entertainment. When it's boring, doesn't work, I'll go find something else. Many, many people. Look, you've been coming here 2-3 years now. Yeah. How many people have gone through this Gompa? Very enthusiastic at the beginning. Where are they now? Where are they now? Not understanding the suffering, you won't be able to continue. So this is why fear and trust, these are the two minds that you need in order to be able to continue when it gets boring. Because even the most exciting thing after a while becomes boring. Have you noticed that, Denise, that sometimes we're terribly bored in our practice? At the beginning, very inspired. Yeah, not even a clown like me after 2 years is able to entertain people with the same thing anymore. It becomes boring. Yeah. Right. So, I take refuge. One takes refuge out of fear and takes refuge out of trust. Refuge means I seek protection. So there needs to be a need for protection. Otherwise, why would you seek protection? Yeah. And then we need to trust that protection, which of course, if you are completely new, you've never heard those things, how can you have that trust? It's okay if you don't have it. Trust comes through studying. Trust comes through practicing. So at the beginning, you should have, and it's good enough to have the trust of a child who believes what the parents are saying. It's good enough. You don't need this, strong trust who comes from the bottom of your heart and, trust that comes from experience. You don't have it. So don't even want to have that before you embark in the practice. Just remember that trust that we had when parents said, don't touch this is hot. And it's a good thing. If you're not frightened of getting burned, we touch. How does that sound? Can you swallow that? You think it's palpable? Okay, but you don't need to say those words if you think that you're creating something negative if you say them. But you can repeat them. A sadhana is to be recited, because those are words that were given by Buddhas. So by reciting those words, you purify actions of the speech. And we create a lot of negative actions with the speech. So while you are saying, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly, by my practice of giving and other perfections may I become Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings, once A, you don't say anything harmful. B, you purify what you've said, what is harmful in the past. C, you create merit, because you install that thought in your mind, I want to become a Buddha in order to benefit others. And the more you repeat it, the more you start to believe it. Yeah. That's why we say the words, we voice them, So the speech, actions of speech gets pure. If you think them, then only actions of mind get purified. Actions of speech don't get purified. Okay, page 4. It's 9 o'clock. The 4 immeasurable thoughts. So we'll go through them in some of the sessions. We will go through them very, very slowly. And this, you can relax, not religious. This is generating love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Those are 4 different minds. They have different causes, and they feel a little bit different. So we try to generate them to feel how they feel, that we can have them spontaneously, just for a few people, and then we try to expand it so that we see that our mind has no limit. We tend to throw people out of our hearts because we think, I can't accommodate those in my heart because they're bad. So then we start to have some equanimity. All beings want happiness. All beings don't want to suffer. So we don't have to do anything. We only have to develop that mind, that understanding. We are all equal. And have an open heart for all beings. You don't have to have contact with them. But wishing them well. Wishing them to be free from suffering. So if you have enemies and you say, yes, everybody else but that one. You can't practice Buddhism, basically. And everybody else but that one is like, you don't have to go and live with that person. All you have to do is open your heart towards that person. Because you cannot go and be kind to that person if your heart is not prepared. So all we do is prepare the mind, prepare the heart. Mind and heart, same thing. That's all we do. Don't stress yourself out by wanting to love your enemy and then giving them present. You can't, because your mind is not transformed yet. So all we do here is transforming the mind, nothing else. Then it will come spontaneously. No anger, no enemy. Anger, the kindest person can become your enemy because your anger projects. Yeah. So like this. So don't stress yourself out by thinking now after this meditation you have to go and drown out and bring some flowers to your enemies. People have harmed you. Not like that. You don't even have to talk to them. We just get rid of that mind, everybody else but that one. We take that one into everybody. Just the mind. Not the action. Just the mind. Very important. Yeah? So this is what we try. This is what we train. See, practice is mind training. Nobody says you have to do it. We train. Then when the mind is trained, it does it spontaneously. We don't have to do it ourselves. And it's okay if it takes lifetimes to train the mind, as long as you keep doing it. As long as you keep doing it, that's good enough. You know, it's like we can really sometimes be happy about, well, I did it. I did the meditation. One other cup gone from the ocean. That's good enough. Then cultivating special bodhicitta, that kind of makes that thought about wanting to become a Buddha even deeper. Then the 7-limb prayer, and this again is to create 7 different mind states. The first one is, I prostrate to Guru Medicine Buddha. So one prostrates with body, speech and mind. So prostrating, you can visualize prostrating, because you'll be sitting. And I'll also, in one of the sessions, we'll go through that very slowly, so that you have time to generate those minds. Probably one of the, not the first session, but maybe the second session. First session we'll do the 4 immeasurables or even refuge. Yeah. So it's a mind which is humble and appreciating. Out of that mind, when then the body spontaneously prostrates. The mind would spontaneously sing praises or say praises. Like imagine, the door opens, the Dalai Lama comes in person. What would you do? Where's your tiredness gone? Yeah? Would you remain seated and, oh, when is this finishing? Oh gosh, now somebody else coming into this gompa. Oh, I wonder how long it's going to stay. Puff, you would be so awake. You know, you would jump up and what would you do? You would bow. Spontaneously. You couldn't help but bowing. Yeah. You couldn't help. Even if it's just like this. That's a bow, by the way. You don't have to go like this. Just that is a bow. When you go home, what would you say? Oh, imagine 9 o'clock. I thought it was finished at 9. It's 9:05. The Dalai Lama comes in, disturbing our session. Who the heck you think he is? Would you go like this? You would say, imagine who came in. You know, we don't care. It's 9:05. Wow, the Dalai Lama came, and then he stayed until midnight. Sing praises, and so happy, awake, happy, because we see the qualities of the Dalai Lama. Yeah. And then, of course, the mind who appreciates, a humble mind. It's such a beautiful mind, a humble mind who appreciates. It's a peaceful mind. Then the I, ba, 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 the complaining mind who destroys that peace. Completely unreasonable complaints, very, very often, you know. Remember that thing by Shantideva. What's the point of complaining about something that you cannot change? What's the point of complaining about something or getting upset about something that you can change? Go ahead, change it. Why complaining? What's the point? But constantly, if you look at the content of our mind, constantly complaining about something. I'm tired, I want to go to sleep, this is boring. Constantly. Doesn't make the time go quicker. And I haven't finished yet. Oh, sorry. Okay, but soon we'll be finished. So I prostrate to Guru Medicine Buddha. So that's the mind, a humble and appreciating mind. Mind that prostrates. Each and every offering, included those actually performed and those mentally transformed, I present to you. So we let the mind go wild. And imagine, everything that we think is beautiful, exquisite, magnificent, limitless. So you can, because this is very beautiful, yeah? Someone made this, and actually it's Medicine Buddha who bought all the offerings. So if you want to make some donations, if you want to contribute, that's only if you want, if you see the benefit, if you think, oh no, I'm being tricked into giving donation here again. Not like that. This is completely, Land of Medicine Buddha, very happy to offer that because they get all the merit. If you want to have some of that merit, then you can give some money. If you don't, then you don't give any money. It's up to you. No problem. But you can still enjoy. So you can take this that somebody else created, somebody else, made those things, somebody else made the altar in a very nice way, very appealing. That mind becomes happy looking at that, isn't it? Yeah? So then you think 1 table, then you make in your mind 2, then 4, then 8, then 16, 32, 64, like this. Yeah? You fill the whole sky with those beautiful offerings. Then the mind becomes happy. So simple. It's so simple. Opens up, we feel the space. Then, when we have some space and the mind is happy, then we can confess. Only then we can confess. If we start to think about negative actions when we're depressed, there's no point. It just throws us into a pitch of guilt. There's no point. So only when the mind is happy and open, then we start to think about our negative actions and we confess. Then the mind comes down again. Then we rejoice. We rejoice about the good things we've done. We rejoice about the good things that other people do instead of constantly complaining. Yeah. Then the next one is, our guide, I request you, O Buddha, to please abide well and turn the wheel of Dharma until samsara ends. So we have to check from our own side, do I want the teachings? Do I accept the teachings? So we have to ask. When you ask for something, you have to accept it. But if you don't ask for something, then accepting something is very difficult. So you have to be sure in your mind, do I want those teachings? Do I want the Buddha Dharma? This is why the Buddhists don't teach if they're not asked. Because they see it's pointless. It's pointless. You cannot help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. You cannot help somebody who doesn't understand that they need help. Forget about, wanting to be helped. The Buddhists don't do that. They said, let the unruly ones be until they're ready. Don't waste your time. Help the ones who want to be helped, who can be helped. It's very wise. There's plenty of people around that we could help, but we choose. That one I want to help, that one I don't want. Then, and we also ask the Buddhists to remain, and again and again and again manifest so that we can make contact with them. And here we talk about people like the Dalai Lama, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Yangtze Rinpoche, your own teacher, to manifest again and again and again in a human form so that we can make contact with them, because otherwise we can't practice. Without guidance from somebody that comes from somebody's mouth, we will not follow the advice in a book. We need somebody to guide us, to tell us. And also there is thousands of different practices. How do you know which one is good for you at what moment? We need a guru if we want to really embark on a path seriously. You need somebody to guide you. Not at the beginning. First you have to check whether that fits your mind, whether you really want to practice that. Then if you don't want to practice that, don't try to find a Tibetan Lama as a guru. That won't make sense. Because every practice that he gives you say, oh, I don't like that. How can you practice? So many people do that. They come to Dharamsala and say, oh, I'm ready, where's my guru? Come, please, I want to find a guru. Come and I want to go and see the gurus and ask them if they can be my guru. So then usually we ask, but do you know what they practice? No, but I want a guru, I'm ready. Then you try to warn them that they will probably give you a practice that you don't like. I'm ready. So then you take them, then they come back from the guru. And they say, oh gosh, he told me to do 100,000 prostrations. What's that? Then you show them what it is. You throw yourself on the floor and then you go up again, down, up 100,000 times. With reciting the 30 names of the 35 Buddhas, all this. Then they go like, how long does that take? Then you go like, well, if you're good at it, maybe 3 months. If you do 4 sessions a day, each session about 2 hours. Nothing but that, 3 months, about. Then they say, well, I only have 2 weeks. Then we don't laugh. We can see how ignorance can put you into trouble, because then they know what they should do, but they don't do it. Yeah? Then they feel bad about this. So much better you don't have a personal guru at the beginning who will give you purification practices for sure, or well, almost sure. Yes, it's true, isn't it? Yeah, what did you get? Prostrations. The first thing you get is to cut our pride. It's very good. We'll do also after the precepts if you want. We can do it together. I'll show them to you. I'll explain so that you know what you're doing. It's very good. And it keeps you fit. You know, does 3 things. It purifies the negative karma, keeps you fit, creates a lot of merit. Much better than yoga. But you have yoga also. We offer you a lot of things here. Okay. So we ask those teachers to remain, and teach the Dharma. And that creates the cause for you to meet the perfect teacher, by the way. That one sentence here. As our guide, I request you to please abide well and turn the wheel of Dharma until samsara ends. That purifies obscurations that we have for finding the Guru and creates the merit to find the perfect Guru, life after life after life after life until enlightenment. Because we ask them to be around until enlightenment. So that's great. So we can continue with our cup, emptying the ocean. Then offering the mandala, this offering the whole universe. Page 5, prayers of request. It's pretty easy. I mean, it explains itself what it is. Then there's another visualization, and that visualization is like the laminated page there. The 7 medicine Buddhas sitting on top of each other. You have it in your packet. Page 6. Now we have one Buddha after the other where we recite each name 7 times. Then what you are supposed to think, what you're supposed to visualize, I'll tell you as we go along in the sessions because otherwise it becomes too much information here. Then page 8, other visualization. Now here the visualization is that first the Buddha sends light, purifies all your negativities to be a Buddha, then the Buddha absorbs into you, and then you arise as the Buddha. Now you can only do that if you've had initiation. And if you come and ask me, oh, I don't know if I had initiation or not, then you didn't have it. Don't worry, you know. You would, if you would have gotten the initiation, you would know. Otherwise, how can you get an initiation if you don't even know? Yeah. So, for those who have had initiations, they can visualize themselves as Medicine Buddha. For the others, you keep Medicine Buddha on the crown of your head. That's fine. We can do it both ways. This is why we do it this way. Then the mantra recitation, where one sends out light, and one can do different visualizations there. Also will change. We make it a bit variety. I'll explain or I'll guide you through it. Okay, then page 9. So we do mantra recitation first together aloud, then slowly, you know, with the mala, if you have a mala, silently to yourself. So of course then, if you have to read, you can't visualize, that's fine. But read. Reading the mantra is the best way to learn it, and at one point you will know it, and you can do both, the visualization and the mantra. So for the beginners, so you take turns. Sometimes you recite, sometimes you visualize. Then you go back to reciting, then you go back to visualizing, like that. So we do some of the long mantra, some of the short mantra. I know that the short mantra is much easier, but we also want to learn the long mantra because there's more benefit. Then page 10, where it says dedication. That's the end of the session, we dedicate. Then session is finished. Do you have any questions for that need to be answered tonight? Yeah, Maureen.
Visualization on page 5, the colors, I get confused because...
Page 5?
Where it goes through, this body is red in color, the colors I'm talking about.
The King of Clear Knowing is red because it's the one who comes after the healing Buddha. He's coral red, okay, so that one is okay. Then whose body is red in color, his right hand in mood of restoring sublime realizations, that's right also. Above him is Buddha, melodious ocean of proclaimed Dharma, with a yellow color. Oh yeah, so that's a bit. You know what I'll do? You know what I'll do? I'll give you the visualization as we are used to have it. Yeah? As we have it. It's like, as I said, neither one is right or wrong. Both are correct. It's just different traditions. But because you are used to the colors that we use in the puja, I'll do like that. You know, you don't mind what it says here, and I'll give you that visualization. I guide you through that visualization, okay? So, and for those who are not familiar with it, it doesn't matter anyway. Okay? All right. Any other questions? It's good that you pointed it out, because I've never really done that sadhana. Or a long time ago I did that sadhana when I didn't know the medicine Buddhas. Because then tomorrow morning, if I would have started to guide you through that, I would have gone, oh! So it's good that you said something. Thank you very much for pointing that out.
For the non-full-timers, can we come to session by session kind of thing?
But don't expect, again, if you just come to session by session, don't expect that then you will be, you know, that a lot of things will happen. Because if you just come occasionally, then it's even more difficult to understand or more difficult for something to happen. But yes, you're very welcome to come for whatever session you want. If you want to get a lot out of this, you drop everything else you wanted to do this weekend and just come. Of course, if you have children and you have to do other things, then do that. But if you choose between going to for your hour of tennis or doing this or movies or whatever, I would say, if you really want to get something out of this and you can let go the other thing without anybody suffering, then come to all the sessions. But you're very welcome to just come to whatever sessions you want.
Schedule?
Yes. There should be some of the table here, otherwise I can give you mine. And the explanation of the precepts will be tomorrow evening at 7. Here it says between 2 and 3, but actually it's been changed, so it's at 7 in the evening, where we explain what the 8 Mahayana precepts are. And can you reach? Yes, no, you can't. That's very kind of you. And how one takes them, I'll explain the. So it's actually quite a good retreat on that level also. You will get to know how to do the 35 Buddhas, you will get to know how to do, properly, you will get to know how to take precepts and all this. This can be very helpful when in the future you are in a group and all of a sudden people say, oh, let's do 35 Buddhas, and you have no clue how to do that. Here you've learned. So it's also a learning retreat kind of thing. Anything else? Okay. So then what we can just do, since we have the dedication here, and since we have discussed what is called the sadhana, so we dedicate together, page 10 in the green booklet. Due to these merits, may I complete the ocean-like actions of the sons of the victorious ones. May I become the Holy Savior, refuge and helper for sentient beings who have repeatedly been kind to me in past lives. By the virtues received from attempting this practice, may all living beings who see, hear, touch or remember me, even those who merely say my name, in that very moment be released from their miseries and experience happiness forever. So all sentient beings, infinite as space, are encompassed by Guru, Medicine Buddha's compassion. May I too become the guide for sentient beings existing throughout all 10 directions of the universe. Because of these virtues, may I quickly become Guru Medicine Buddha and lead each and every sentient being into his enlightened realm. Great. I forgot one thing. Like we do Medicine Buddha practice, we do for other beings also who are not strong enough or who don't have enough faith or are sick, have problems or whatever. So we do it for them, then we dedicate all the positive energy to those people. So there's lists here, where you can put, if you want to dedicate or offer your practice to somebody, give away all the merit because they can't do it. So you put the date is not necessary. You put the name and the purpose, and try to write really clearly, because at the end of the last evening session we read out those names. Again, we read them out aloud so that it's mentioned. The sound has sound has power, so the sound goes out. So, and it goes out with the wish for them to be free from suffering. So you're very welcome. There's quite a few pages. It's quite a few of us. We will give one page to each person, and then we read them together. Okay. So that's here, but there's no pen, so you'd have to bring a pen. Yes, Maureen.
Can you bring medicines?
Yeah. Very good question. You can bring medicines that you are taking regularly. After each recitation, you blow on it. You visualize, the medicine on a moon disc, Medicine Buddha here, and then as you finished the recitation, you blow on it, and you feel or you see how the power of the mantra goes into the medicine. Power of the mind. Yeah. The more faith you have that this works, the better it will work. See, you have big faith, will be big result. You have middle faith, middle result. Small faith, small result. No faith, still small result. That's the power of the Buddha. You can also bring water if you want, like a small bottle of water. Maybe we can ask them to have one, and then it's next to you, and after each mantra recitation again we blow on the water, and then this becomes healing water. You can use it for people who are dying, to put a few drops of water in their mouth, or when you wash them, you put a few drops of that water into the washing water, so you can touch the body. People who are dead, you can sprinkle it on the bodies, they say, then it will help them for their next life. Now, how this works, I do not know. That it works, I have seen. So, anyway, what can we lose by just doing it? It's pretty simple. If a bottle of water every time. And it's funny enough, if you bring that to a healthy person, they are bleh, But if you bring it to a person where nothing helps anymore, they will take it. So, as long as we don't realize that we need help, we have no faith. Because there's no need for faith. As long as we think we're okay, there's no energy to practice. So like that. We will meditate, like in between. I don't know which part yet. I haven't decided yet. But we'll do some what is called Lamrim meditations, like, definitely meditations on love and compassion. Maybe even Tonglen, equalizing oneself for others, like that. Maybe even, seeing our own suffering, understanding why we're doing this. I don't know yet, we'll see. Because I don't have that many sessions. Definitely on love and compassion, that will definitely come. Okay.